Oh, we have a serious case of Anzac fever as people all over the country put out their skeletons, possibly for Halloween, but also possibly for one of the greatest achievements in New Zealand cricket history. That's right, our Kiwi brethren from across the ditch have scaled a height not seen since Alistair Cook's men in 2012. Over 4,300 days since India last had a home series loss. Okay, good for them, but what does this mean for me? Are New Zealand good? Do we have to give them back Russell Crowe? Is this the Kiwi century? I, for one, bow down to our Kiwi overlords and look forward to the next instalment of the Super Smash. Speaking of skeletons in the closet, it looks like the Menendez brothers are getting out and David Warner's leadership ban is lifted. Coincidence? Another great chapter closed in Australian cricket history. No further questions, Your Honour. Does this count as a win? Who's winning? Only 3 people knew. We're still no closer to knowing what the batting order is for the first test, but who is McSweeney? What is McSweeney? And why is he my new favourite cricketer? Western Australia lose 8-1 against Tasmania in the no-name one-day cup, but hey, they've won everything, and not even Coldplay can be number 1 every week, and neither can England, who have been knocked over by an inspired Pakistan. And by Pakistan, I mean Sajid Khan and Noman Ali, who bowled unchanged for a week and a half. It's their first win at home since 2021, and it's Jason Gillespie's first series win in his first series as coach. Does this mean Australia won? No. But my God, we're hungry for some cricket down here. Tim Paine is on the show. He joins us from Hobart to revel in a great week for Australian cricket, despite no one playing for Australia. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry, we're a week closer, none the wiser. But the WBBL did start this week, and I guess that means that's something.
Oh, shit. Well done, Higgos, once again. For me, the pattern of all of this is like the ascendance of ball over bat. You know, like, isn't it great to, like, everywhere you're looking now, test cricket, in this one-day shit with WA or whatever, the ball is dominating. You know, hundreds are hard to come by, except for the first tester in Multan there or whatever.
Yeah,
but, like, people are sort of figuring out that when the ball is slightly in the ascendancy, the cricket is good. Or is it just because the teams that you want to win won, and Australia has loose connections to them? You know, from Pakistan, I don't think Jason Gillespie is the coach anymore. I think he's the head of match day strategy.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
I think they made that clear after the first test. We can get into that. And obviously, you know, New Zealand won, and that's an Anzac win.
Yes.
I saw Neil Finn last night on Take 5 with Zan Rowe, and it was great to hear Zan Rowe on the ABC speaking with a great Australian. So,
yes, okay.
Once again, you know, we all sort of share in these victories, is what I'm saying.
I think Jason is doing a dual role for Pakistan there, where he is sort of doing some match day stuff, and he's also a janitor because he's cleaning up bottles from the nets there. So it's a dual role, but that has helped them win against the great foe that is England. So we're happy for some reason, even though we didn't take part in any capacity. And we'd probably lose in Pakistan as well.
As you mentioned, like, it is like huge history for New Zealand. I think Jared Kimber asked if it's like their greatest fortnight in the history of their cricket, given how much of an upset their women's team winning the World Cup was, and then for them to do this puts us all in the shade a little bit. Really, you're sort of like, oh, okay, so it can, you know, we sort of we've called this Everest, and now the skeletons are heading over there. I mean,
turns out there was a lift. Yeah. Okay.
But Bredig was saying, I'll just call him Bredig disrespectfully.
Yeah.
Dan Bredig in the Nine Entertainment paper said, you know, you do tend to win in India a bit more when you play in October instead of February. So something for us to look at. I'm sure if we speak to India about it, they'll be reasonable. So,
okay. Let's talk about live shows, Pezza. A shout out for the live shows. Our special guests, the first one coming up in a few weeks' time on the 28th of November at the Gov in Adelaide. Special guest Greg Blewett. Tickets available at greycricketer.com.
Had a bit to say a couple of days ago.
Bluey goes whack.
Not for me to, you know, we wouldn't be disparaging about David Warner. We'd have no reason to be disparaging about David Warner at all in public. But Bluey... I think Bluey might have spoken for quite a few people a few days ago with some comments about Warner's, very tongue-in-cheek suggestion, just winding everybody up.
Yeah, there was clearly he was being quite serious.
There was no hint of seriousness to it at all. It was just, it's Warner. It's Broad knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
That's the thing about Davey. He's good, he knows what he's doing. But Bluey just came out and just went like, well, I'm not going to paraphrase, but... He spoke for a few people.
Nice to see brought in the comments of TGC's post Cummins
nice.
interview as well. Okay, so that's 20th November on Thursday, the Gov in Adelaide, Greg Blewett. Okay, Wednesday, 4th December, Astor Theatre in Perth. Special guest Marcus Stoinis, Ashton Agar. Tickets, greycricketer.com. You know what? the ticket links directly for all these cities are going to be in the link. There's going to be links in the bio on YouTube or on your audio platforms, etc. You know how the internet works.
Got to say, like, it's lovely that you say that, but if anyone doesn't come to the show because like no one told me where the tickets were,
where are they?
You just type,
Yeah.
grade cricketer show Perth. Where is 2024?
Wednesday, 18th December, we're heading to Brisbane, Tivoli Theatre. Special guest, the Big Doss, Matthew Hayden. And then we are moving to Sydney. Tickets selling out fast in Sydney, got to say, at the Enmore Theatre. It's Thursday, 2nd of Jan. If you're in town, if you haven't dipped away to your little holiday destinations there over the festive period.
As people want to do in Sydney.
They do like it, and they don't like it when we do this show. But this show's going to sell out pretty quickly. His special guest is, I think it's Ricky Ponting. I haven't got the full details here, but it's Ricky Ponting. Enmore Theatre.
We've been told.
And hey, the show for Melbourne on 8th of Jan is sold out. That was with Aaron Finch. So we are putting on a second show the following night. That's Thursday, 9th of January at the Forum again in Melbourne. Special guest TBA. But tickets are available now. They went live on Friday for that Melbourne show. But please do come along. We love these shows. It's great to have the energy in the room and to see all the fans out there getting around the
IRL outside the online incel comments.
To see the commenters, the customers, and the pay pigs.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of pay pigs, here goes. This time of year, every year, we always we always put on a special a special offer, I suppose, to those who want to join us on Patreon for our bonus podcast, the 1 hour extra podcasting we do every week on AskTGC.
4 hours
Fridays.
a month.
4 hours a month of TGC that it branded around the idea of it just being looser, darker, rawer, Ben Roarer, if you will.
Yeah,
and
he's never been on the show.
This week, we do this every year. This week, you can get 15% off with an annual discount. 15% off an annual discount. So you're essentially making money, if anything.
Yeah.
So
if you sign up for a year, money goes into your account.
Money goes into your account and value. And
I mean, more will go into ours. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah, there's spiritual meaning as well, and the odd laugh. So AskTGC Fridays yearly discount, 15% off this week only. AskTGC Fridays just before the season starts.
Just before the season starts.
So we're heading into the season. If you're thinking, wouldn't mind a little bit more cricket in my life, I've had enough of trade radio.
Yes,
I've had enough of the Rugby League Pacific Championships, or as I've seen it called recently, the Pac Champs.
Yeah, okay.
Very close to Packham Champ. Which is what we're saying to the footy season. If you're just starting to get in and around cricket, it's building in your life. You're starting to see, Fox Sports articles with the words amid and looms and insane and that kind of stuff. Blitz. Are you thinking, I wouldn't mind a bit more cricket? Well, then AskTGC Fridays. You go to patreon.com/great cricket. You're going to get 15% off an annual subscription if you'd like to make money, and most people do.
And that's also supporting the boys. If that's what you want to do.
Independent media. And I guess while we're on the topic of independent media and asking you to put your hands in your pockets for things, we're also partners with Gideon Haig and Pete Lawler, two leading cricket writers in Australia, with Cricket et al.
Yes.
In a couple of days' time, those guys who have been putting out just a mountain of work, and you just don't have to pay Rupert Murdoch anymore to read these two legends. That's all I'm saying. TGC's played a role in it. The guys write the piece, the articles, that is, and we help, I guess, power it. And I write a little bit as well, but we're about to ask people to pay for that because generally speaking, there's a transaction going on when it comes to media or most work.
An exchange for goods and services.
You provide a service and then in turn you ask for
Interesting.
I mean, controversial idea given the last 20 years of the internet, and some people won't like it.
Not sure that's going to work, but yeah.
But if you want to hop on now, you're going to get Gideon and Pete, which is basically publishing every single day, definitely twice a day for the test matches.
That's a must read
through this summer. Must read. The best print you can get in Australia and the globe for the Border Gavaskar Trophy through the summer. If you hop on now in the next 3 days, you're going to get them at $15 a month. After November 1, it's going to be $20 a month, which is basically $1 a day. Apologies once again for the value. But what you'll be doing is supporting independent media. You've got TGC, you've got Cricket et al, AskTGC Fridays, and it's cricket narration deluxe.
If you think it's good, help the boys out.
Help the boys out.
If you think it's terrible, don't do it.
Exactly.
Don't do it. If you think it's bad, well, why would you do it?
But there's a bit of narrative being put together via TGC and Cricket et al. Like Pete Lawler broke the Cam Green injury story. Gideon's got some amazing writing. He's a national treasure. We had Cum Dog on last week. TGC for an hour. No commercial tie-up. Now, which isn't to say that we didn't speak about some of his commercial offerings.
Yeah.
Right.
That's because they're funny.
That's because they're funny, but also that wasn't the reason he came on to do it. He just dropped in and.
Why are you wearing sunglasses for 15 minutes? Why not? Why not?
Yeah, that's right. Odd question.
Hey, Wasted Saturdays is back. We started that last week. You find that on the odd YouTubes there. We need your clips via DM. Send them in via email or DM. You can find all the places to send them in properly, just by using the internet and your brain. So, Wasted Saturdays, that was good fun last week. A collection of 6 clips of chaos, mayhem.
Club cricket as well.
Club cricket from the Netherlands, from the UK, from Australia. It was real cricket, real life cricket.
That's right. And a couple of Dutch international players got in touch and said, we played in this competition and this diminishes me.
And this bloke did this a fair few times.
Yeah.
He knocked the stumps over. Yeah. Anyway, you can find that on YouTube, of course. Wasted Saturdays again, back on Wednesday this week. It'll be also another sweet treat coming for the
Michael Beers. Yeah.
So it's all happening here as we lean into summer. As summer looms large.
Yeah, looms large.
Because it's not
discord over it.
It's incredible how much, we're really into Piastri at the moment. It's even though it's nearly fucking November. And I was on the SMH last night, Pezza.
Yeah.
Sydney Morning Herald. And I went to the sports tab.
Yeah.
And
the tab to read the sport, not to
I didn't
gamble.
go to the TAB, no. And and there was not a single cricket story in any of the top 10 stories.
Really?
Not a single cricket story.
Fair
but on the age, there was.
Well, I went onto the SMH this morning, and column 8 had a lovely little piece from someone there, again in print, talking about how England have selected salt and pepper to open the batting, and that's quite fun. England seasons their top order, and I got a little kick out of that. And then the police arrived.
Yeah. And we've got Time Paine on the show. Another season.
I feel like the chorus is rising a bit around cricket.
Well, it's going to start to heat up.
Yeah, I refresh those tabs 10 to 12 times a day, and I feel like at least once every 30 or 40 times I'm getting a new piece. Article.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you can find those quite easily. Okay, well, here's a story for the summer to kick it all off.
Yeah,
the Dave Warner leadership ban has been modified. It's been modified.
Modified? Lifted.
Well, in the official press release, it says modified, but it has been lifted. So basically, like Warner,
it's a deeply legal issue. It's important to get the legal language right about this.
Yeah. So just lifting a quote out of the press release that went around from CA, it says the panel also considered references citing, quote, the contribution that Mr. Warner has made and can make in the future towards the development of young cricketers in Australia if they were given the opportunity to be led by Mr. Warner. His important continuing role in fostering interest in cricket, especially with the South Asian community in Australia, and generally there's a whole you can find a whole panel finding there. But
so his TikToks, his Bollywood stuff is actually where he superimposes his face on the dancers.
Exactly, yeah. So Nick Hockley, CA Chief Exec, how are you, tonsils? He said, in 2022, we updated the code of conduct to ensure there was a fair and rigorous process in place for all players and player support personnel to have long-term sanctions reviewed. I am pleased David has chosen to have his sanction reviewed and that he'll be eligible to take up leadership positions in Australian cricket this summer. So basically, he can captain the Thunder because, as we learnt, he will not be playing for Australia in Test cricket anyway. So yeah, there's that. I feel like...
How do you feel, mate?
I feel like there is some justice here with this. I think it's I feel like in many ways, because it is a legal issue, or it has been in front of the courts in some capacity. Like, you never really know because we weren't there, right? And so like we can have conversations with people, public and private, and you might be able to glean a few things, but like until like. I think, sorry, let me say that again. Just like the JFK assassination, there's an official narrative, and I think that people are like, not sure that totally adds up.
That's right.
So
I saw the fence. I reckon they could get away with the back there.
I think people are not quite sure that what the official narrative is. It can actually be true. And so, but the thing is, like, unless you're actually in the dressing room, you never really know. You're never really going to know. But I think what we've certainly felt and spoken about in the past that David Warner has definitely carried the can of punishment for this specifically. Now, I think and we're also, just to reiterate, we have spoken many times on the show that like he is not without sin in this. So he's not saying like he's completely innocent of this because, what happened with that team and leading up to that, and probably him specifically, is that really, as a fan, they embarrassed us. That team embarrassed us, and Australia, the Australian public punished them more than the rest of the world. I think the rest of the world will laugh at us now, but the Australians are the one that being like, no, we're not going to cop this anymore. So, you know, that team embarrassed us and it hurt us, and punishments were required. But I think like his punishment was incredibly harsh. But was it harsh because I wasn't in the room? I don't know. It's a confusing one, but I feel like some justice has been served here, that he is able to be in a leadership position now.
Yeah. I mean, Gideon on Cricket et al. Described the leadership ban as gratuitous to begin with. And, you know, the fact that... So I agree. It's good that it's been lifted. And I don't think it should have been there in the first place.
Right.
I mean, to me, the fact that Warner had the leadership ban imposed on him in a situation when, you know, for the longest, in a situation when, you know, the captain and the tamperer himself did not, was always the signal that Warner was the mastermind and the worst guy in this. And I think a lot of, you know, as his own manager said a couple of years ago, you'd have to be a blind black Labrador dog not to see that there aren't more people in it, or worse to that effect anyway.
Right.
However, you know, this was a private hearing last Thursday, and the unanimous decision of the independent 3-member review panel was to overturn the lifetime leadership ban for bringing the game into disrepute. Before fronting the CA review panel, Warner accepted this statement: "I admit the offence that I have been charged with and accept the imposition of the proposed sanctions." So, you know, effectively Warner's confessed, and CA is forgiven. So it's all wrapped up in a neat little package.
Yeah, all good to go.
I noted that, like, this is according to the SMH, my Bible, part of, you know, Warner's, I guess, undertakings from here, because it's only now he's available to lead, not when he played for Australia, just conveniently, just before the BBL season starts. Yeah. So there's nothing cynical or self-serving about this at all. No, I think he's ready now, Warner. He's pledged to speak openly to young players about his role in the infamous ball tampering scandal.
Like how to do it and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of like... So he says, Mr. Warner made clear that if granted a leadership position, he will have no hesitation in discussing the offence and the sanctions with other players, and that he will do so in a way that does not shy away from his personal responsibility or the appropriateness of the sanctions imposed on him. But no hesitation in discussing the offence and the sanctions. So I'm thinking like Ollie Davies might have some breaking news this year.
What do you know?
Yeah. How many young guys are just going to have journalists going like, so have you asked him about what actually happened?
There's now plenty of accessories to murder.
Yeah. It's just, you're just going to have this lead article from O. Davies. Okay, Warner.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's hard for me not to like see it all being quite convenient ahead of a BBL season. There's nothing right now that makes Warner more ready for leadership than he was a few years ago. He hasn't done anything in the last little while that suggests that, you know, now is the time. It's just that it's expedient and convenient for the commercial and purposes of everybody involved. And to that end, I could see why Warner would continue to feel quite hurt and scapegoated by the entire process, even though two ideas can exist at the same time. He also is culpable. It's just the extent to which he's culpable.
He's such an interesting character in the last decade of Australian cricket, where he's well liked by his teammates, and I say that as a surprise because he is not well liked by the public, and he has a sort of bristling relationship with the media. Doesn't often give interviews or that sort of thing. Never really goes out in press conferences, and when he does, he seems to antagonise, and that sort of gets people offside as well, I feel like. But you know, in an era where where the Ashes remains the biggest thing in the world, and Stuart Broad being the great antagonist from the other side, and we felt like we had to defend David Warner. You know, when Stuart Broad attacks him, it's like, fuck off, he's ours. But then, like, we don't really want him either. So it's kind of confusing in that regard. But then you look at the you look at the love that he's received in India, where perhaps he felt the most, he actually felt the most love back. And maybe he never felt that he got the love from the Australian public, but maybe that's because of his behaviour on the field. And I've said before, he and that team embarrassed us for a long period of time. And what happened in Cape Town was always going to happen in some capacity. It felt like there was going to be some breaking point. But, so he never got the love. But was it because he grew up in a system that we have made a business out of mocking? Because it was just completely the brutality of the system just made you be a cunt. And it's so unnecessary. So, the love that he got, especially in Hyderabad where he won an IPL, and, he's doing the dances and he's just embracing their culture and he's getting that love back. He never got that here. And I sort of wonder why that is. But then at the same time, so like this ban has been lifted for Warner. But I don't even know. I think he would have been a good captain on the field. There's probably been a few guys like that in Australian cricket history. There's been some good captains on the field. But like given his relationship with the media and the public, maybe being a good captain on the field is only one very small part of being captain of Australia. Now, like if it ever got in the position where it meant that Cummins is not the captain right now, then that actually would have been a hindrance, I think, to Australian cricket, generally speaking, through every level. So, don't know. It's confusing because just what an unbelievable cricketer. And as I said at the top there, teammates really like him, but like he's never shown that to the public, and I wonder why that is. If it's we've just got off on the wrong foot from the outset and just never been able to get back together,
I can't speak on behalf of the public, but I don't think there's just been this grave misunderstanding.
No.
I think people pick up a vibe from someone after a while, to be fair. I don't think the public is necessarily has a divine judgment on every player. But if you play for 10 years, guys who are, I don't know, you can be misunderstood for a while, but even it tends to work itself out.
Yeah.
I thought Shane Watson was misunderstood for a really long time.
That's true.
And I think a lot of people see now as that probably was a misunderstanding, around his character and his conduct, how he carried himself on the field. But I'm not sure there are too many misunderstandings.
No, but the only reason I think that is because I don't think I've ever heard someone that's played with him ever say a bad word about him. And so I do wonder, if there guys have played against him,
in
heaps
public?
of bad works in public, yeah. Sorry, even in private conversations, I can't think of any. Maybe you're different, but people seem to go out of their way being he's not a bad guy at all. No, just never seen it myself. But it's just I just wonder. That's all. I just wonder if there's another side we're not seeing. But anyway, leadership ban lifted. Good for the Thunder. Good for the BBL.
Yeah, all wrapped up in the neat little package. Sandpaper done.
No further questions.
A lot of guys deleting chapters from their books. Play on. I would have thought.
Okay. Are we hearing Nathan McSweeney gear?
Yeah, the birds are chirping.
137 for the Sackers against Queensland, I think they played, when no one else got above 30.
Yeah.
They lost the game by 9 wickets. A couple of other guys from Queensland got the runs, but Jimmy Pearson, in fact, got 100 and Renshaw got 70, I think.
Okay.
I think Usman might have opened the batting zone, might have got some runs. But, McSweeney, as captain of Australia A, bats top order, bats 3-4 for the Sackers. Bowls some off spin, doesn't he?
Does he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he can be listed as an all-rounder, but
you wouldn't know his face to look at him just yet, which is good.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
Never seen it, but it's something.
Yeah. I think McSweeney, calling it, Pete Lawler tends to have the best relationships in the game with these things, and he's saying that's what he's hearing. But, the selection of this side has become like a horse race. I think even Cummins was saying it last week, you hear about players firming for selection. How does that work? Are the selectors selecting a team every week and then changing that team? I know that's how they used to do it in footy or whatever, but it seems to me it's still there are still things players can do to get themselves that chance at the end. I think that if someone had already been selected, and sometimes that can happen too, then we'd probably know about it. But perhaps what Lawler is saying is that he's got the inside track, it's sort of his to lose, and he's the one scoring the most runs, McSweeney. He's the one who's also been earmarked. Andrew McDonald gave a wide-ranging interview on Offsiders on the weekend, and it had been pointed out on Grandstand later on that McSweeney was selected to captain Australia A when he was only averaging 28 in first-class cricket. He's been earmarked as a leader. Top order South Australia, all the runs in the world. I feel like by this point, people who make these decisions like McDonald and Cummins and Bailey have actually said every single thing it's possible to say. They've said they want a specialist opener. They've also said they don't mind what the makeup of the top six is. They've said McDonald on the weekend said we wouldn't be protecting Constas. He's looking pretty good. He also said McSweeney's looking good. It's just it's actually been a masterclass from them. Just say every single thing possible, then say no. I've already said this.
And it became quite clear, speaking to Pat on the couch on Thursday, that they have not thought about it for 1 second. So,
I think, that's what he's claiming, right? He's like, which was perfect grade cricket response, right? So, mate, I'm not even looking at this.
Well, because he's in the team. He knows he's playing. So, whatever. But 10 other blokes.
I don't know. It's feeling like it's between McSweeney and Constas now. But, there's 2 Australia A games against India A coming up. I mean, if someone else, like Bancroft, just goes back to back with tons, then the whole complexion of the conversation probably changes.
Yeah. Speaking of Constas, I thought he did. So in the game that the Sheffield Shield game with the Vicks beat New South Wales pretty comfortably. Scott Boland was magnificent. Yeah. Fergus O'Neill was terrific as well, who's been great since he's started for Victoria. But Scott Boland just looks that level above, extra yard of pace, of course. But I thought Constas looked okay against Boland on a very seaming deck. Yeah. A very seaming deck.
Yeah. When everybody else was getting knocked over.
Yes. Yeah. I thought he made 43 in the second dig. He might have been unlucky in the first innings, given out LBW against Boland. Might have been missing, but whatever, he was given out. And
did you see his little gesture at that when it's going down? Come on.
Yeah, don't do that.
We don't need that. Yeah. We don't need that.
But I thought it looked good. It looked good. But at the moment, if you were picking the team, who would you pick open the batting? I put you on the spot there. I haven't.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I don't know. I think I still would want to see more, but probably McSweeney.
Yeah, okay.
To be honest, it's runs. It's top order enough. It's going to be in the team soon enough. He's, I noted Chris Rogers' comments about wanting to give Constas a soft landing. I get the impression that Constas will be ready to go at some point. But, if you have another guy who is essentially in the top order, who's a bit more ready, a bit more hardened around red ball cricket, then he's probably more likely to be able to be dropped in and help you win a game. I would have thought differently if Bancroft had been scoring runs. But it may say something that, when the moment has come, he's not been able to manage that. But I do think that even just bringing this podcast back, a week is such a long time in cricket. Guys have 2 or 3 knocks, and you start finding some form at the right time. It can be a completely different conversation next week. I mean, it's not even a week ago. I was out at the MCG, and you talk to people around the traps, and it's one guy who would know is the boys actually, they're really keen on Maddinson, Nick Maddinson, and that just feels ages ago now. Mm-hmm. So one thing that you pull out of these things is that the coaches might have one view, the players might have another view.
Yeah.
The extent to which the players influence the coaches, well, it depends who you ask. Cummins was, wise to, and remains wise to essentially sit above it all. And his line is well, I'm not even really thinking about it because I'm alpha, and we just take that in and go, that's great. Good. That makes me feel good. So keep saying that.
Yes, Daddy.
So I think it's quite wide open, and I do think that it says that there was an opportunity to blood an opener last year, but instead Davey got the send-off. I'd be happy with either Constas or McSweeney, though, to be fair. I mean, if they pick Constas, I'm obviously salivating from a narrative perspective, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes, Even watching him bat, we were saying this before, off air, he's a Cranbrook boy from Sydney. He does seem to bat to me like he's had he's had cricket nets installed in his backyard from a young age. The way he holds it, but that's fine. That's good. And he fought his ass off in the second innings when everyone else was getting out. Scott Boland on a seaming MCG deck.
Yeah.
It's that's a pretty good test.
Yeah.
Disappointing way to get out, but he was trying to move the game along. If there is any query over the way he bats, it might be the ability to manage the tempo of a game or whatever. But good judges are saying that he's the next Ponting. So I'll take that.
I love that, thanks.
I'll have that.
Can I have one, please? I reckon...
Yeah, what do you reckon?
If I was a selector, and I am hoping that Cameron Bancroft scores 100.
Yeah, right.
Because I think if Bancroft scores 100, he probably goes back to the queue, which is actually to your point, being like there's so much
back
time...
to the front of the queue.
Back to the front of the queue, yeah. Where did it... I looked at his stats actually in the UK because obviously he's had 2 great Shield seasons and he's done everything that you could ask him to do here. And he was playing for Gloucester and he finished he was in the top 20 of runs. He's playing in Div 2 of the county championship, so it's not the highest standard.
First grade.
He's playing first grade over there, but that's I'm not sure we can take away from that. I just wondered if his form has just dropped away a little bit, but I do think that if he scored 100, it's he's probably the most ready, you know what I mean? But that's also might be short term because I look at Constas and I've actually, I've never seen McSweeney play, but now I want him to play.
Yeah.
And so, I looked at Constas and I was like, oh, no, I can see that being test level. It looks something.
It makes the shapes of international cricket.
It does.
I don't know if I can always say that about Bancroft in my, important level of judgment.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I just feel like if he scores runs, then he would just have to play. But... It just might not have worked out for Bancroft with the timing. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence as well.
I feel sorry for the narrative of Harris, Bancroft, and Renshaw because ordinarily from time to time in Australian cricket, you get these guys who've just been at the front of the queue for so long and been so prolific for so long, and you think, great, once there's a spot that opens up for them, which also means that Australian cricket's going well because there's no spot for these prolific run gluttons.
Can't find a park.
We'll be able to drop them in, and they'll just be able to scurry on and score more runs for the nation, or I can walk past and make my noises, right?
Yeah.
Except, so that's been the opportunity for that narrative. Hardened, grizzled. First-class players are beaten up cars that can do the job. Come in hardened and ready. Back in the old days when, you could drop Martin Love in the side or, even a little bit later on, Adam Voges and stuff.
Yeah.
I was always confident as a young person who didn't know much about the game that, even when they were dropped in their first test, they were better cricketers than the international players who'd played 50.
Yeah.
I was because of the the quality of Sheffield Shield cricket.
Yes.
I don't think that the current the trio now is at that level where they're they've just been banging the door down so hard. Same with Brad Hodge, you know what I mean? Just man, he's going to come in and just score compensation runs.
Jimmy Marr.
Yeah, exactly. Just going to come in and get going. But against in contrast to that narrative, the other one's been he's this divine untouched virgin from from the gods, where everyone's whispering about it. And you're like, well, I can't. The beaten up car is now discarded. Drive it off the cliff. I don't care about it anymore.
Scrap metal.
I want the boy with the nets in his backyard and the way he holds the bat up and the flowing Mediterranean hair and vibe.
Turns up to games in his Cranbrook blazer.
Exactly, blazer wearing,
with a white BMW.
Prodigy. Yeah, that's right. Where the New South Wales elder statesmen are whispering, we've got another one. He's the one. Oh my God.
He used to hit throwdowns into Sydney Harbour.
That's right. The heavens open up, and
meanwhile, Bangers has been grinding him out in Gloucestershire.
Bangers is just falling over a bit. The front pad's getting blown off, Jordan Buckingham.
That just comes from Gully a bit. Yeah.
Poor bloke.
Sure, he's scored 4,000 Shield runs in 2 years.
It's not fair. Do you know how many?
It's not fair.
They've scored so many runs and played so much cricket. He's travelled around the world. He's come through something just deeply traumatic. That story actually has way more depth.
It's transcendental.
I was looking the other day. I was looking up that St George lost Sam Constance Sutherland, picked him up. Watto said, "Come and play for us," because St George was playing him in twos. So St George looked the best out of this. Really,
okay.
They started him in twos.
So Bradman's done it again.
But then McSweeney, I think, is the the amalgam of those things. So McSweeney is, young, raw, untapped, unblemished, runs next to it, Australia A captain, earmarked.
Is he from South Australia?
I think so.
I think we need something like because we've got a sort of Carey McSweeney head axis there.
I thought you were going from like if he travelled from another state, then he's also blemished a little bit.
No.
He's had to leave a state.
No.
So he's got that, but he's also a bit hardened because he's been in Shield cricket for a couple of years and he's had to play for South Australia. So
yeah.
So there's
he's
something.
He's had to deal with Zampa on the bench.
There's something a bit hardened about it. But I feel like McSweeney's the amalgam of the narratives that we need.
So he doesn't open the batting. In Shield cricket?
No, not at all. In no way.
In no way does. So it's a bit like Finchy.
Yeah. But I mean,
Finchy got his go in the test.
This is how unfair it is, because if we're honest, and not a lot of us are,
no.
What we want is pre-match montages of some ex-player, probably a commentator who's not busy at the time, presenting a new baggy green to an Australian batter.
Yep.
A new Australian is going to have a stick.
Mm.
We want that to pump up the summer.
And then we can cheer the first run. Oh, he's away. That's his first test run.
And he's off the mark.
And that's all you want to do at this level, just get off the mark.
Yeah.
Get through your first ball.
Yeah. So, it's a big old narrative war. Grist for the mill.
Other note here from the last round of Shield is Steve Smith is never out.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all looking like it's going to play out fine. So
all good.
Yeah.
All good.
Chuck him down at 4. Average 65 again. Yep. Everything's looking good.
Everything's looking pretty good. All right, India, New Zealand, second test.
Now we're talking.
It's like Daryl Mitchell and young kid Ravi Rajaja.
Oh, yeah. And that's a great tribute to New Zealand's
second test.
That's the second test. Well, young lad, Ratchan Ravindra made 65 in the first innings, actually. Not nearly as good as Devon Conway's 76. So New Zealand did bat first. They won the toss. They batted first in Pune there. They made 259. I've already given you the top scores there. Hey, Washington Sundar back in the side since the Gabba, since picking up a dog. And naming Gabba, 7 for 59 for Washi.
Nice.
Ashwin picked up the other 3 in the first innings. India then all out 156. If you thought Washington Sundar's 7 for 59 was good, well, what about Mitchell Santner, 7 for 53? Phillips 2 and Southey picked up Rohit Sharma with an absolute peach. India never in it in the first innings either. 4 for 70, 5 for 83, 6 for 95, 7 for 103. Before being, what were they? They are 103 runs behind on the first innings. Then New Zealand made 255 thanks to Tom Latham's 86. Blundell made 41, Glenn Phillips 48 red. And Washington Sundar picked up 4 for 56, so 11 for the game for Washi. Well done, Washi. He's actually never been on the show, but we have spoken to Washi when we were in Chennai. He messaged us, didn't he?
We spoke with him for when we were covering the IPL, when he was playing for Sunrisers. Remember? He was on with Kane.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
P.
So he's a friend of the show then.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that meant that India needed 358 to win. New Zealand needed 10 wickets to claim the series, and they did that with India all at 245. It was ticking along okay for India at times. Wickets at crucial moments, though. Jaiswal 77. Next top scorer, Jadeja 42. Rishabh Pant was run outs for 0. Kohli 17. Rohit 8. Mitchell Santner 6 for 104. So he's finished with 13 wickets, Mitchell Santner. Incredible performance. India win the series 2-0. 1 test to play. It must be later this week. I'm actually not sure where it is or why it is.
Mumbai.
It's in Mumbai. Okay. Well, everything to play for. Well, sort of for the Kiwis. I mean, they've achieved something unbelievable that I don't think anyone saw coming, given that New Zealand hadn't won a test in, was it 36 years, 38 years or something like that? Now they've won 2 in a row. And they've won the series. They've defeated India. That's their first series loss since 2012. All sorts of permutations now for the World Test Championship final. I'll speak about that in a little bit. But New Zealand, absolutely incredible. And I found it a little bit, just speaking about Santner, who was player of the game, 33, 753, and 6 for 104. When in recent years, when spinners have gone to India from the away sides, everyone picks the left arm spinner. It's crucial. Ajaz Patel actually last time played in India took 10 for. Kuhneman for Australia, as an example. Jack Leach, who has been out of the side, who's been playing in Pakistan, of course, recently. But Mitchell Santner is actually an outstanding international cricketer. I know his first-class record isn't that great, but his change of pace is so good, and he was so precise, and he was just magnificent. I don't find it. People have been saying it's kind of surprising given his first-class record. I just think it wasn't par for the course. It was just he delivered exactly what he can on a turning deck, and was just incredible.
So you're saying that like Santner's kind of coming to the consciousness when really he's always been an excellent player.
Yeah, I mean
he's now got the performance and the result to show how good he is.
Yeah, because in first class cricket, I think he averages whatever he averages, right? It's nothing to write home about. But he's been fantastic for Chennai in the IPL. He's actually the captain of the white ball side at the moment. In New Zealand, he's just a great cricketer. It's just in Test matches he hasn't been required, but on these kind of decks, a left arm spinner. He was just, he was perfection.
Well, I just want to elevate this. Really, I mean, this is one of the greatest results and most extraordinary results in men's cricket history. When you consider that India has not lost a Test series since 2012,
and India's without Kane Williamson,
that New Zealand haven't won a Test in India before Bengaluru since 1988, when Richard Hadley took 10, as we all remember, and that New Zealand are without Kane Williamson, perhaps not their official leader, but their spiritual leader and and guider, that New Zealand are operating against the backdrop of their best players rejecting national contracts, that they're operating in the backdrop of their CEO recently saying that if we listened to money only, we would play T20 cricket only at home.
Wow.
But though they don't, he was just explaining the commercial realities of cricket in New Zealand. This is a nation whose test apparatus is eroding and diminishing due to macro forces in cricket at pace. To be able to go over to India, who it's been 4,000 days or some shit since they lost.
4,330 or something like that.
We're not even talking about a result that was predicated on, controversy or luck. This is a 2-0 unassailable lead with the team batting far better than their counterparts away from home and bowling with more venom than their counterparts as well at their home. It's extraordinary. It's a terrible result for subscribers and the cricket economy generally.
Yeah.
But and it begs a lot of questions about whether we can do 3 Test series over there. But I mean, it's one of the greatest moments in New Zealand cricket history,
no doubt.
And it is hats off and pants off to them, deluxe. And I actually personally, I thought Dinesh Karthik's remarks upon the victory being secured on air was best when he highlighted that New Zealand had won an important toss in Pune. And, it was hard to disagree with him when that were the fullness of his remarks.
Okay, so Ian Smith sort of gave a bit of context to what it meant to New Zealanders. And
I think to be fair to DK, he might have said one or two praiseworthy things of New Zealand, but ultimately,
just won the
in
toss.
terms of explaining what had happened, it was a good toss to win in Pune. So,
well, over the course of the last 12 years, other teams have won the toss and not been able to achieve what New Zealand did. It is absolutely incredible, and as I said before, I don't think anyone could have seen this coming. But you're entirely right. They haven't just won the games through luck or moments, or India just completely just completely unlucky. New Zealand have completely outplayed India in every capacity.
They've batted with more application, against spin bowling, and this is a scenario where I think most teams have figured out that the best gap you can find between your opponent and you when you're at home is bowling to them. We're getting a lot of bowler-friendly pitches these days. Australia's been doing it for a couple of years with grassing up the decks, making them more seam. And, people have just taken that calculation of look, opposition batters away are going to struggle against bowlers at home. So when teams can go away, and India's probably the hardest place to do it, and bat with more application and success against India's spinners than they can in reverse, that is just exceptional. So, Rachin Ravindra, Devon Conway in particular, who scored big runs, that's some hot shit that they've completed there.
I watched all of Latham's innings in the third innings of the game, and he was outstanding as well. Patient, played his game. He was really impressive as well. So, I mean, Washington Sundar was incredible for India. And he's been brought in because they went after Ashwin in these two test matches, which I found quite interesting. And we'll get onto the...
Can we? Yeah. When are we getting onto India here with this? Because we've given our flowers to New Zealand.
Can I just give some context to what it means to the World Test Championship table? Because it's okay. Things will happen, and none of this will mean anything. Yeah. But it does give some context because no one's seen this coming, and it's thrown up some interesting circumstances. So, if South Africa, who are playing in Bangladesh at the moment, they've got 5 tests left. They've got 1 more in Bangladesh, then they've got 2 at home to Sri Lanka, and 2 at home to Pakistan. South Africa.
Yeah.
If they win all 5 games, they're in. They're into the World Test Championship final. Because they'll have a higher win percentage than what is possible for India and Australia, given they have to play against each other, of course. So,
even if either team wins all those games. So if Australia goes undefeated, South Africa could still go ahead.
Yes, because that'll mean that India will drop right out.
Yeah.
And if India win 5-0 on Australia, then Australia would drop right out, right? Yeah. So if Australia win 3-2 against India and 1-0 against Sri Lanka, that'd be enough for whatever India could achieve. New Zealand need to win the 3rd test against India and then beat England starting in a couple of weeks 3-0. That's in New Zealand. Even then, they're not guaranteed. But it is very interesting. But like South Africa, their 5 games, you think like 1 away in Bangladesh, that's going to be hard. But 2 at home to Sri Lanka, 2 at home to Pakistan, they're looking pretty tasty all of a sudden to knock out either Australia or India, depending on what happens in the border Gavaskar, of course. And I noticed that Jay Shah, the current secretary of the BCCI, said earlier this year that he had raised a question to the ICC of moving the final to a new venue in December. He'll take over.
He just asked the question.
Yeah, he's going to take over the job of the ICC chair.
Yeah.
So he's asked the question to himself, basically. Yeah. Should we move the final away from Lords?
It's a question. It's a question I'm asking.
And he didn't say where.
And I'll refer it to the ICC chair.
Yeah.
Which I will become in
that'll
December.
be me. Yeah. And he didn't say where, so who knows where that's going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be anywhere. Could be anywhere.
Could be New Zealand.
It could be Edgbaston.
Well, famously hostile ground.
Yeah.
Famously. Holly's stand.
So, India. I'm not sure I've seen them play worse, especially at home.
Yeah. Are we calling it a humiliation? I mean...
No.
Well, I mean, if the Kiwis knocked us over at home...
That's a good point.
How are you feeling?
Warner's back in.
Seriously. Well, I'm everything's back on the cards. Chris Rogers back on the cards. Yeah. He put himself out there too.
Did he?
Yeah, he said, I might. He was talking about it. He goes, I might say I'm available. Then I saw Starkball and I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the skeletons coming to your home and knocking you off, it's not something I've experienced. Well,
home or away, to be honest.
Late 80s, but, Yeah.
I've heard Hadley was good. Like I've not seen it, but I've heard it.
I've seen it myself. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, humiliation. Is it humiliating to lose New Zealand at home? Oh, that's disrespectful. Yep.
It is.
Yep. Let's go with that.
That's a humiliation, I think. And, and necessarily you ask questions. Something goes wrong. Where are we at?
Yeah, okay.
Now, we're just going to say the name Gautam Gambhir. I'm just going to park it to the side. But he's a new coach.
He's a coach, yeah.
He's the coach.
Yep.
What else are we looking at here? Rohit Sharma is averaging 31 in Test cricket this year, and 13 across 4 tests since Gambhir came in.
Can I add a Kohli stat that I did these numbers this morning. So since India won in Australia the first time in 2018-19. So since January 2009, Kohli's played 40 test matches.
Yeah.
68 innings. So 40 tests, he scored 400s in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
It's about the same as Smith.
It's about the same as Smith. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, because it feels like the summer might be built around, like, these two, mega gods coming together for one final battle, on our shores anyway. And it's like, they're not the best players anymore. And they're not even close. They're so... Their stars have diminished so much. I mean, Kohli, 40 Test 400s. That's amazing. I mean, he has to play on some really tough decks at home, to be fair to him.
Well, isn't this the point in international cricket now? Like, all decks are shit. Which, like, for batters.
I think,
except for that one in Multan.
Well, I think that actually makes Joe Root's achievements recently even more incredible, because you look at like who he's surpassing. That era is just a batting era. It's like all the guys in the top 10 played in the same decade. It was flat. There's graphite bats. Nothing doing with the ball. Whatever. Good to go. Now, hey, not going to say it to my face.
Yeah.
You know, but what Joe Root is doing is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. We can spare Joe Root stuff this week, but
And he has been lucky, I thought.
Kohli's averaging 27 in this year, and just one score above 50 across 5 tests. Again, tough decks and whatnot. Your point on the spin. I mean, Washi comes in for the first time in years.
Yep.
And has just comprehensively outbowled Ashwin and Jadeja.
Yeah.
By quite a long way. Those guys are looking, listless right now.
Yes, yeah.
So, that's an interesting one amid the looming conversations about Australia's ageing team as well, ahead of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. But I like all of it because now we're talking about a backs to the wall India.
Okay.
Under the tutelage and coaching of
GG.
Gorty, of Gautam Gambhir, and if India is smart about it, and they will be, they'll spin that narrative. Mm-hmm. They'll like the backs to the wall stuff. Mm-hmm. Rohit's missing one of the first 2 tests for personal reasons. That's already locked in. I think
in Australia.
Yeah, in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be some unfamiliar names.
Who's
in
the vice captain? Is it Rishabh?
I don't know actually. They do vice captains.
Be Bumrah.
Oh yeah, Jasperi. That's nice. So yeah, who will captain that game? Probably guess Jasperi. And then they announced their team. They announced the BGT team. This week. And, just interestingly, no Kuldeep.
No,
he's out with a groin. A Mark Coyne. No Shami, who's injured as well.
That's a big one.
Yep. There's actually rumours with Kuldeep that he was going to come out and play a game with St Kilda.
I think
it's fine to say that now. That wasn't, I don't know if it was permitted to be said before, but apparently he was going to play a game with St Kilda.
Yeah.
So, went to have a net at Cricket Victoria. They weren't so sure, so St Kilda said, come have a net with us.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll have a game with you later on. That would have been funny.
if you turned up on a Saturday, Kuldeep Yadav's playing.
Fuck me.
I can't pick it.
I mean, he's keeper.
What do you think? Do you think this means anything for the Australia series, the Border Gavaskar?
Well, it's funny because there's so many guys, so many Indian Test cricketers that, particularly at home, you just lock in that they're going to dominate.
Imperious.
Like it's the idea that they would age is actually difficult to wrap your head around. Mm-hmm. But there's clearly a sign of it.
Jadeja and Ashwin, whilst completely stubborn with the bat, and always will be, especially at home. How many Test centuries between them? More than 10, I think. Just with the ball, I've not seen that before, but they did look as threatening.
I don't trust it.
There wasn't as much energy being propelled from the crease. Jadeja's left arm spin has just been unplayable at times. And Ashwin's such an intelligent bowler as well, and with the variations. But Washington Sundar just gave more energy to the crease. Anyway, I guess Australia won.
No Shardul in Australia as well. So obviously
that's surprising.
Well, yeah, because we're just traumatised by what happened last time.
Yeah, but he has played in England before as well, and in recent series.
But Washi's in.
Is in, yeah.
So Washi's in. Ursawan is in as well, and then Harshit Rana comes in, and Akash Deep. So a couple of names that we haven't seen here. Harshit Rana, I always liked him in the IPL. But,
yeah.
Anyway, a bit of a narrative now, a bit of Dad's Army stuff.
Dad's Army.
Some maybe some declining players.
Both sides.
One last gladiatorial battle, between the Giants and Gautam Gambhir. Is he under pressure? What does that mean at press conference level?
Fireworks.
It's all to play for.
Pakistan, England, third test. Okay, here's what happened. England batted first, and they made 267 after winning an important toss. Pakistan in the first innings, Jamie Smith made 89. Ben Duckett made 52 as well in that first innings, all that 267. Sajid Khan, 6 for 128. Noman Ali, 3 for 88. In the second innings, Pakistan found themselves 7 for 177. So they were 7 down, still 90 runs behind. They ended up making 344. So that is a lead of, 67, something like that. Is that right? 67. Thanks to Sword Shakil's 134. So they were 7 for 177. Then Noman Ali batting at 9, 45. Sajid Khan batting at 10, 48 or 48. Made 344. That lead proved to be crucial. Regan Ahmed, by the way, taking 4 for 66. Nice to see Regan back in the test lineup. England all out 112. They slumped to 3 for 20 at the close of day's play on day 2. So they were still quite far behind at that point, but all out 112, meaning that Pakistan needed 37 to win. In that third innings, Noman Ali took 6 for 42. Sajid Khan 4 for 69. Pakistan chased it 1 down. A historic series victory for Pakistan, for Jason Gillespie, for the captain Shah Massoud, who had lost 6 test matches in a row before that. It's all sort of gone wrong quite quickly for England after such an incredible first test match where they scored 800. Harry Brook, 317 in that game. I think he finished with about 350 runs for the series, despite scoring 317 in one dig. Joe Root couldn't pull him out. Ben Stokes, uncharacteristically poor series. Even apologising to his players for losing his temper after 2 drops in 3 balls. Is this a deck thing? You know, does Bazball need flat decks? Because when it's spun, it's hasn't worked out for him.
Well, that was like McCullum's comment, which I thought was good. I didn't think England were too bad post game. They've been worse for sure. Mm-hmm. And McCullum was like, "Oh, I'm actually surprised." I'm paraphrasing. I'm actually surprised Pakistan don't do this more.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
Fuck up the decks.
Yeah. They were literally raking the deck.
Yeah.
They're raking it.
Yeah. I like this tweet from Daniel Brigham. He said, conceding over 800 in an innings, then dropping your best players, bringing in an umpire as a selector, turning your coach into a glorified bowling machine, and winning the series is outstanding Pakistaning from Pakistan. And they did go, fuck it, we're going full Pakistan here. And you got to love it. You got to love it.
Hey, something for the fans, because fuck me, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Sajid Khan and Noman Ali took 39 of the last 40 wickets available. I like it.
Yeah.
I like what they did. And, and I guess, for England, it's, they're, I thought before their series against Pakistan, they were, they could have one eye on a World Test Championship final as well if they just came and dusted everybody. Yep. But they're 9-9. They're 6 out of 9.
Yep.
Losing that last test to Sri Lanka at the Oval, they, that hurt them as well. But there's some great analysis from Matt Roller and Cricinfo, as per. He sort of makes the point that with this England team, like everything feels like a stepping stone. There are very few games that feel like they're being played for the here and now, and that it's all laddering to the Ashes. And I guess I can understand that in a way. I mean, perhaps they just make the really pragmatic call that that's what they'll be judged on, and the rest is just building. Ben Stokes made a lot of comments about Shoaib Bashir learning on the job as a spinner. How good is that, etc. And, I understand that as well. But by the same token, as they continue to build rather than just be, they've missed the, a home World Test Championship final 3 years running. And as you mentioned earlier, Jay Shah raised the idea of moving that final to, I don't know, maybe India, I think.
He didn't say that.
No, the ICC chair will decide.
He'll decide.
And he becomes that in December, so I don't know. Stokes struggled back from a torn hamstring.
Weird ways to get out, throwing his bat, getting stumped, leaving one on middle. Weird.
Ollie Pope struggling. Deluxe. I noted before. I think it was after the first test. I think Gillespie talked about it before the third test. the PCB made some changes after they lost that first game by innings and 47 runs.
Yes.
He said the PCB came out and made some changes after that test match. It was decided that a new selection panel would come in and they would be making decisions. So I was not involved in the decision making. I was just there. I'm now just a coach on match day strategy, so I keep out of things and just focus on the players and getting them ready for cricket. It's not for me to talk about. I let the selectors do their job and we'll just go out there and play the best cricket we can possibly play. So, but, you know, is it the ends justify the means? Because the new selectors have come in and they've just dusted England on dust bowls.
Yeah.
So is it play on?
It's a long way back for Bubba Azam, I've got to say. He's not been selected for the Zimbabwe tour now. So yeah. Also, something quite fitting, seeing a bloke in the Barmy Army wearing a VR headset, watching the game. You know, is it all an illusion? Is that what this is? What was he watching? Was he watching the VR headset guy? You know, who shadow bats in his living room?
Meta.
Yeah. Was he watching porn?
Yeah. That's your first
that'd be illegal,
thought, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be illegal in Pakistan. But you know, what was he watching when he was watching the cricket, sitting there with a fucking VR headset on?
Yeah, that's right. Stokes is just throwing his bat again. He's like, right, time to pull out the headset.
It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's good though. I mean, I have felt that like England. Okay, you think about where England were before Stokes took over and how bereft of ideas they were, generally speaking. But like, I do feel like that. I heard Nasser was saying actually after the match, talking to Athers. And he was saying like there shouldn't be this bigger gap or such a disparity between them being sublime and them being so inconsistent. But when I look at their team in like the international stakes, you look at like their 1 to 11 or their squad of 15 they would have, they're all good players. Like they're all good, but I just don't think they're that good. I don't think they're bad. I just don't like you compare it to like other teams.
You think it's actually playing out exactly as it should?
Sort of. Maybe they're just getting there in a fun way.
Like time, it's just perfect. The time is never fast or slow.
I do wonder because like.
They're 9-9. They sit 6th. That's about where they are.
Their greatest achievement was winning 3-0 in Pakistan last time. What they did there was absolutely incredible. Just the batting, maybe less so, but to take 60 wickets with some unproven talent at that stage was incredible. But like, they didn't win the Ashes at home. Their white ball's fallen away. It's probably parked that to the side for 1 second. You know, losing that test at home to Sri Lanka did hurt them. And then this series here where they've just been outplayed. So like, maybe they're just a good team, but not amazing. Maybe that's where they're at. You know, like they've got Crawley, Duckett, Pope as a top 3. Now, Ollie Pope has scored one of the all-time greatest innings in Test history a few months ago with scoring 196 in India. Where was that? Do you remember? Hyderabad. Unbelievable. They won that game off the back of it. And since then, it's just like it doesn't look right. Joe Root obviously pulled them. His runs are just he's been winning games for them. But like Stokes out of form a little bit, but just everything around it. It's just good, but it's not bad.
Hey,
it's just there.
Good bats, good quicks, do well on decks with some pace in it, or that don't move around that much, and probably weak on spin and weak facing spin. So, you know, not really for Australia to judge. No. I know. Like, and then you know the novel way that they play is going to allow some incredible victories, which it did in the first test. But also, if it gets worked out, it's difficult because their approach actually ends up becoming quite rigid and predictable. As much as it's fun and novel, they're so wedded to their ideology. It's actually quite difficult for them to use multiple plans. I'm sure they would say. I'm sure there are plans within that, and there are nuances that sit within that. But I think the fact that they're so outward in the chess speeding around how aggressive and exciting they are, it actually provides information to oppositions around what they're likely to do, and they like that and they lean into that. But in this occasion, on this occasion, the 21-man selection panel for Pakistan has just said, "Oh well, just get the old fans out there and
let's play two blokes."
Yeah, that's right. So. You know, they're not the first team to have been undone in Asian conditions where it spins.
No.
But it's just exposed those specific weaknesses. I think they go straight to New Zealand now. Now that's going to be
It's going to be a hot series.
that's going to be a really interesting series, given the conditions are a little bit more aligned with what they would be used to. The last series that they played against each other was really closely fought. New Zealand just got there, right? Or was it 1-1? I can't remember. And England's under pressure. So
There was that game where Jimmy Anderson was last man out. I think New Zealand won the game by 1 run.
That's right,
The ball before was definitely a wide.
yeah.
Yeah. Not called, correct.
Yep.
All right, let's before we speak to Tim Paine, let's talk about the Australian domestic scene, Australian domestic one-day cup without a name. Nice to see,
But there
obviously.
will be.
There will be.
They're going to announce it just before the final. So it's, if you've seen this, there's a short list that they've
down to
put
2,
out
isn't
there. It's Dean Jones, Michael Bevan, or Andrew Simons.
Andrew Simons is still in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has it been whittled?
I'm not confident.
That's harsh.
I'm not confident. What?
As in, like, there's 3, now it's down to 2.
Yeah.
Well, if only we were in this game,
It's not for us to say.
Our job.
It's not for us to say.
Not for us to say. I'm probably like, do you have a preference
Here's my only problem with of those 3. Andrew Simons' record in the competition, not that good. Michael Bevan's record, outstanding. Yeah. But who has had a bigger impact on Australian cricket? You'd say Andrew Simons. But Michael Bevan, what a player.
I'm just Dino, easy.
You're just Dino?
I just think Dino changed one-day cricket. And Michael Bevan perfected it, I think. But before, Dean Jones came and actually changed the game. And he brought electricity to one-day cricket, and he took the way of playing it to a new level. He's obviously not with us anymore, in a way to continue on remembering him as well.
Yes.
So I remember, and at a personal level, he was my first ever favourite player, and he lit it up. So in terms of the way he ran between the wickets, he was an electric fielder. He batted with with panache and aggression. So I think he'd be a great choice. But I'm not saying no to Bevo as a New South Wales. I'm not saying no to any of them, really.
I mean, you have made a strong case.
You could say anyone.
Yeah. Cheekway is still outside for me.
Cheeks.
Yeah.
Buzzard.
Anyway, nice to have Pat Cummins wearing 4-year-old New South Wales training kit, according to one player in the DMs during an interview. That was nice for him to come in and do that.
Player in the DMs.
New South Wales beat Victoria. Matt Short made 80 opening the batting for Victoria. That's probably the biggest takeaway from the game. Matt Short doing well.
Okay. Yeah, he looked good. I did see a bit of that, yeah.
Now, Western Australia all out 53, losing 8 for 1. Our friend Slug took 6 for 17 for Tassie.
What are you going to do?
Right, Slug gets the ball.
When Slug's on.
When Slug's got to go around corners, what are you going to do?
See you later.
The scorecard was very funny. There was 8 ducks in a row. 8? Yeah. 7. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ducks.
Bangers 14. That's a fuck's sake, boys.
Doing everything I can.
Yeah.
Tough deck. Queensland beat South Australia by 9 wickets, as we said earlier. McSweeney, 137 off 131 for the Sackers. Jimmy Pearson, or Kimmy Pearson has been auto-corrected in my notes here, scored 100 of 98 for Queensland. So that's what's happening in the one-day cup.
100 off 98, yeah.
100 off 98, yes. The WBBL started over the weekend. Amelia Kerr, the Kiwi, obviously, who just won the World Cup for New Zealand, is likely to miss 8 of the 10 Sydney Sixers games in the WBBL with a quad tear. The injury happened in the first of 3 ODIs against India. India won that first one by 59. I think the Kiwis won the second one last night over there in India. Some other news with the WBBL. Phoebe Litchfield, 21, becomes the youngest ever WBBL captain, of course, with the Thunder. Annabelle Sutherland is also made captain of the Stars, taking over from Meg Lanning full-time. I think Annabelle had already done some captaincy for the Stars last year when Meg wasn't playing, but it's now official. And 15-year-old Kiva Bray hit the winning runs for the Sixers last night against the Renegades at Adelaide Oval. She's in year 9. She's hitting winning runs. Took a wicket on debut as well. Pez made 81 off 38, opening the batting in the chase. I'm not talking to any of these women at the moment after what they did in the World Cup or what they didn't do. I'm off them. What do these runs mean?
Yeah, Georgia Wareham, 61 off 31. Where was that?
Where was that?
Any danger?
New Zealand won the World Cup.
So harsh.
Fuck me. Not sure if you caught the power surge being activated, Pez, during the Strikers Heat game earlier at the Adelaide Oval. Went around socials. There was just a woman on the sideline wearing a Strikers hat, and she just pushed the blue button, and then the stadium lit up.
Okay.
In front of not that many people, unfortunately. But, power surge activated. Now the fans know.
Shout out to WBBL, 10 years old.
10 years old.
Come a long way. There's a lot of I think there's it must be a CA campaign doing the rounds about it being the best women's competition in the world. You can't imagine that lasts long, but still, it has come a really long way. First one in 2015, 16, and as Megan Schutt was saying in the lead up when the team was walking through Rundle Mall, people were just coming up and just going three-peat strikers.
Yeah. Yep.
But they lost overnight, and
Yep.
Sixers knock over the Renegades. You say Heat and Scorchers also won, but I also noted that Bharat Sundaresan bowled the celebrity first ball as well.
Yep.
So shout out to Bharat.
Celebrity.
That's what it's called, the celebrity first ball, because
Celebrity first ball.
he's an Adelaide celebrity.
Okay.
Bharat, and I encourage everybody to have a look at it. A lot of people knocking around the pitch as he comes in. Obviously, his cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
He bowls off the wrong stool,
Yeah.
and but cleans up middle stump comfortably. So he stepped up in that moment, Bharat Sundaresan.
Maybe we should have had him for the live show instead of Bluey.
It was neck and neck. It was like
Couldn't afford
Dean
him.
Jones and Michael Bevan, plus also can't afford him. Fuck, he's greedy, isn't he?
Yeah. Fuck, he's greedy, Barrett. Yeah. Fucking hell, man. You want how much? Jesus Christ.
7 must have deep fucking pockets. Just making a joke about this.
All right. Let's talk to Tim Paine.
Yeah.
And this segment is brought to you by our friends at Ponting Wines, pontingwines.com.au.
Head on to pontingwines.com.au and click products.
Yeah.
And you are going to be wowed by the range that you have there. Straight away, I'm looking at the mixed pack. So you're looking at your reds and your whites there. That's called Cricket Whites On. And they're already offering you a discount there. So it says 180 and it's there's a line through it that says 169. So they're already offering you discounts before you even know. You can have a look at the Ponting green cap. You can actually buy merch. Now, what I want to point out with this cap, which looks perfect for the golf course, is it's a baseball style cap, but the name Ponting, which is sort of it looks emblazoned in gold across the front on a green cap, is in the same typeface. Now, I haven't confirmed this with the good people at Ponting Wines, but it appears to be in the same typeface as the name, the word Australia on, say, like an 89-90 World Series cricket Guernsey, somewhere in that era. It's got that nice little slight sort of calligraphy curvature to it. And, that will, there's a certain section of people who will get around that massively.
Well, they'll be coming to the live shows, I'd imagine, wearing the Ponting Wines cap.
Indeed. Ankle bracelets. So, and then there's just everything else that we've spoken about before. Your close of play cabs have a robust red. Robust, gutsy red. And I've just spent the weekend in the Hunter Valley, believe me.
Yes, you have.
I know what a gutsy red is. Communist. You got your top order Adelaide Hills Chardonnay 2022. The range is just growing. You got your e-gift cards, multi-case buy.
Someone on Patreon actually said that Ponting Wines has made it all the way to, I think it might have been Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Someone was at a restaurant in Amsterdam on Patreon. They sent a photo in there and Ponting Wines was there on the list. I think it might have been a Pinot Noir.
It's a great drop.
It is a great drop.
Not to be confused with a grade drop.
That's something completely different.
See a lot of them on Saturday.
Pontingwines.com.au. All right, here is Tim Paine.
We're very grateful to have with us former Australian men's captain, now coach of the Adelaide Strikers men's team. Australia, men's team as well. Co-host of SEN Tassie Breakfast, most importantly. Friend of the show. I think he's been on maybe 2 or 3 times. Yeah. One time spontaneously just to show us his biceps.
Floated in.
Yeah, just floated in to show us where he was at.
And skincare routines.
Exactly. That was the owner of Look Good, Play Good, Feel Good. Tim Paine. Painey, welcome back to The Great Cricketer.
Hi, gents. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Painey, leadership seems to be increasingly in focus this week in cricket, and so is everyone just volunteering selection ideas, and we're no different, and you're no different. But this is literally hot off the press. I've just had news of Australia's T20I team to take on Pakistan. Don't know if you've seen it. Huge series. Absolutely can't wait. The big one. But and it's a team without test players, which means there'll be a fill-in skipper. So I'm presuming you're going to say you haven't seen the team, but I'm still going to ask you, which one player are you choosing to skipper the national team?
So Mitch Marsh isn't in it.
He's not in it. So Abbott, Bartlett, Connolly, David, Nathan Ellis, Jake Fraser-McGurk, Hardy, Inglis, Spencer Johnson, Glenn Maxwell, Matthew Short, Stoinis, Zampa.
Matthew Short would be my captain.
Okay. And would you like to volunteer a reason or just say the name?
Well, he's a Big Bash captain who I know very well, and he did a great job last year. And I think the T20 format's not a bad one to give someone some experience. Even though, as you said, it is such a huge series, it's not a bad one to experiment in, potentially.
Well, that's definitely going to upset some people and will make one person very happy, no doubt, Paine. So well done. My only question for you right now is we're just trying to figure it out. Are New Zealand good?
That's a great question as well. And I know this will upset them, and I upset them when they came to Australia. I remember a few years ago when we played them as the second-ranked test team. I think they were at the time. My short answer would be no, they're not very good. Is that harsh?
But they've just ended 12 years of absolute domination. Yeah.
Unbelievable performance, no doubt about that. It makes me worry a little bit about India, if I'm totally honest, coming to Australia, particularly without Shami as well, which we've heard in the last few days. But New Zealand they've always been an amazing team at scrapping and getting the best out of themselves and giving themselves a chance if you make a mistake. And I think India just made far too many mistakes in the series. We touched on it on our breakfast radio show as well. I don't know if you noticed it, the New Zealanders fielding in the series, the catching was unbelievable. And if you catch most of your chances in a test match, then you're going to be a good chance. They were plucking them left, right and centre. And when they're fielding well, they're playing well. So hats off to them. If they were to play in Australia right now, would it go well for them? No.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, we've upset... this is good. We've upset potential non-captains, according to Tim Paine. We've upset New Zealand. So if New Zealand aren't very good and they beat India, where's India at? I know we were looking forward to getting him at the Gabba, but we're getting them at the Gabba at the right time this time around. So how are you feeling ahead of that series?
And unfortunately without me. Doesn't help them either. No, I think the more I think about it now, I think Australia are going to start pretty strong favourites for me. I just think India haven't been playing all that well. Their batting looks a little bit brittle. So Australia's batting doesn't look amazing at the moment in terms of output, but we know the quality they've got there. Both attacks last time we played in Australia, the quicks were awesome. I think Shami's going to be a huge, huge difference. He was amazing last time and wore us down. Bumrah now is so much on his shoulders, and if he gets hurt, then it's curtains for me.
It's really interesting. You mentioned, brittle batting, and we were just talking on the show earlier about how, across the world in international cricket at the moment, it feels like ball is just got the ascendancy over bat. There's a lot of decks that are being, apart from that first Multan one, Pakistan, England, it was more the other end of the spectrum. But it seems like it's hard to score 100 now, in international cricket, in test cricket, and that's a good thing. So it's sort of difficult to know who's batting well. It seems like with this Australian team, for example, if the decks are going to be grassy, and, Como was on the show last week saying he wanted that, tongue in cheek, but I'm sure he does. Doesn't it mean that you want to be selecting guys who can face deliveries, can just actually see out tough periods of the game? Or do you see it differently?
No, I don't see it differently. I can see it both ways, and it depends on your cattle, which way you decide to go, I guess. But what I do remember, a lot of people, they talk a lot about Rishabh in that last series in Australia. The guy who won them that series was Pujara because he wore us down. He wore our fast bowlers down. He wore balls on the body, and he just kept getting up and going again. And I think there's certainly still a place for that. So whether Australia decide, and I've said this a few times, with their own batting in that opening batting spot, do you fight fire with Bumrah and, well, Shami's not there now, but Siraj, and go a really aggressive opening batter and try and get after them? Or do you go back to a Bancroft who can bat for a long period of time, and given that it's a 5-test series, just try and wear their quicks out, which you can do in Australia when the wickets flatten out days 2, 3 and 4. So it's going to be fascinating to see what strategy they go with. At the moment, I've listened a lot to Andrew McDonald and George Bailey. They're not giving us much. So it's funny when we're talking on these podcasts or on radio, it's hard because we are literally guessing because we don't know what style of play or what style of cricketer they're looking for. But I think I've said a few times, I think it's clear if you're going for an out-and-out opener, it's got to be Harris or Bancroft. If not, then you're throwing a cat amongst a pigeon, and it just comes down to who they like at the time, which we have no idea.
While there's obviously a match going on the field, Paine, there's also matches going on online. And Pezza mentioned there, the can't wait to get you to the to the Gabba, Ash was something that's really hurt Australians online. I regret something about 5 different things on this show, but do you regret giving the ammunition to the Indian fans?
No, I don't, because to this day, Ashwin didn't play in that Test match. And
1-0 Paine.
I wasn't talking to the Indians. I was talking to him. We cannot wait to get you to the Gabba. As in you, because he was annoying us, fair to say. He's a fantastic cricketer, and he was getting me out all the time. That was annoying me as well. But no, that was purely directed straight at him, and he pulled out of that Test match with a back spasm. So did I have a great Gabba Test match? No, but I fronted up.
That's 1-0 Paine for me.
That's 1-0. Yeah, actually,
no one actually listened to the exact words of that.
Day one of the Test match, he was jogging laps.
Yeah.
Like, those back spasms couldn't have been that bad.
Can you run us through like the mechanics of how it works? Because like at the time, or Fox might still be doing it actually. Like they let the commentators don't say anything and just goes to the stump mic when Nathan Lyon's bowling basically, and there's men around the bat, right? But are you aware of when that happens? Because there seems to be an increase of chat when that happens.
No, we're not at all. I think they just take the punt that there's a bit happening and we're going to go. It would be nice to know at times, because I mean they're very lucky that some other stuff's not said or whatever. There must be a little bit of a lag, but even just to make sure the language is clean. I think the best part about Rishabh and mine was that it actually, well, we use this word too much now, but it was a bit of friendly banter, giving each other a bit of a ribbing. I think we're both similar in personality. We were both a bit bored at the time, but it wasn't anything nasty, so there was no language in it. Some of the stuff when Virat and Ashwin were at the crease, so that could have gone either way. But no heads up. It'd be interesting though. I think they probably should.
Yeah.
Speaking of blokes saying stuff and everyone hearing it, like you would have been captain during selection debates in Australian cricket. Like, how do you think Pat Cummins would be faring with like a good number of the team over the last 12 months? At some point, like publicly putting forward their view on what they should be doing or what other guys should be doing in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cricket 101 though, isn't it? You should always have a stronger opinion about everyone else. We always know better than everyone else in cricket. That's number one. But yeah, I don't know. Cricket's a funny game like that. We're always, I think because it's you're by yourself but you're in a team, you've always got to try and push your own case a little bit, because otherwise you might get forgotten. So, Pat's got his hands full there with some of those boys. I've dealt with them a few times, and there's never a dull day when it comes to selection. Or even Amarnis would pick the team and tell you this is who you should be playing, and most of them would come from Queensland too, to be fair.
If I could ask you seriously, you mentioned Andrew McDonald's interview over the weekend, and I know George Bailey's talking, and we were just saying on the show earlier that like those guys have pretty much said every single permutation possible, like, oh yeah, Constance could be good, oh yeah, McSweeney could be good, oh yeah, we might go another way, or we might, it doesn't matter which 6 batters we have, oh yeah, we'd like a specialist. It's a masterclass in saying basically everything and nothing at the same time. You're with the Australia A team in Melbourne, as far as I understand, maybe Mackay too, I'm not sure. Have you been given any directive on who is to bat where from those guys? Do you have any sense?
Yeah, I do. I've seen both those teams, so I probably shouldn't give too much away. But what I will say is it's one of my, and this is not George, this is not Andrew McDonald, but it's one of my frustrations with cricket. It's like everything's a secret. So it's like, we're going to pick a team for right here and now, and if that involves an 18-year-old, then so be it. It was like, well, will it? Is it? Can we? And I know it's not my place to comment on their team, whatever, but it's one of the things that I really believe in when I'm going to be coaching the Adelaide Strikers. I want my players to know exactly where they stand all the time. I want our fans to know where our team stands. I want our partners. I want our organisation. So there's no surprises. And I want to try and bring people along for the ride. I mean, we play the game so people can watch it, so we can entertain them, but we keep them in the cold for 9 months of the year. I think we should be able to at times let them in and say, listen, this is at least the style of cricket we're going to play. So then we go, okay, we can guess a little bit with some knowledge of this is how they're going to play. Whereas I just find a lot of high professional sport these days, everything is such a secret, and I think it gives fans the shits, to be honest. And most of them are paying subscriptions for TVs, seats, memberships, you name it. I think we need to bring them in the tent a bit more.
Can it be hard to sort of communicate to the public, Paine, about, selections in certain capacities where, just the Shield has been probably diminished over the last few years, especially during COVID, but because of basically white ball cricket sort of dominating the schedule now. But, some like for the average punter, someone scores 1,000 runs in Shield cricket, but you get like a feeling with a player. Now you look at like Marnus, for instance, averaged 30 in Shield cricket for ages, but like you just got that feeling that he had like this level above in him, But to the average punter, it's like, well, how come this guy scored bucket loads of runs, but you guys have a feeling about this guy? That can be hard for the public to cop. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it is a gut feel with someone like Greg Chappell. It was a gut feel on Marnus. Other times it is you're looking for a certain style of batter. So I think, at the moment, and I could be wrong, but I feel like we're going between, we want Usman to be that guy who bats all day. We don't want bangers potentially to partner him, because then we've got two of them and we're not moving the scoreboard. So I think we're looking, that's where people have started to talk about an Inglis, or, a few months ago it was Travis Head. It was throwing a different player up the top with Uzi, who we know is going to be rock solid, has been amazing for the last 2 years. But we don't want two of them. We want to play this style of cricket. So again, that would be, something now. It'd be great if they came out and said, listen, we're going to pick a specialist opener. People can go, okay, perfect. Thanks for letting us know. Yep. Because it's Australia's team. We are fans and supporters of that team, and we want to know.
There'd be a lot of people, Tim, looking at your hat going, yeah, nah. Is that just a nod to being indecisive about something? Or
runouts.
In all seriousness, I have heard you talk about this on Pete and Gideon's podcast as well, though. Like, so as far as I can tell, it's a beer that lets you say yes to watching the sunrise of tomorrow morning. I haven't drunk a lot of beers that does permit that. For me, normally need something else. But can you run me through it?
Yeah, so it's a beer that we started. It's been in the pipeline for a little while, but it's now on sale in Coles, so I own it with a few other guys. 0% beer, and I've been a non-drinker. Well, I'll have a couple. I can always drive, but I've been a non-drinker since I probably finished playing cricket, to be fair. I don't know if it's a direct correlation, but I just value my time now with my kids and my Sundays, and I'm sick of having days where I lay down in bed and feel terrible, to be honest. So for me, it was a no-brainer when I was asked to be involved in it. I was actually on a call last week, and I'm not lying because I own it. I'm on a call with a heap of sales reps the other day, and they said by far it is the best tasting zero alcohol beer they've had that is on the current market. So if you do want to have a beer, be able to drive home or have a good day the next day, then is the one for you to go and get.
I'd actually imagine, in all seriousness, that cricket clubs would particularly be interested in that. We've done like sports functions at cricket clubs before, where guys, like, without any irony, have said that club cricket culture has suffered because of drink driving laws. Sort of appallingly. But I'd imagine that provides the opportunity actually for clubs to, and for even blokes who might be new to driving or whatever, to be able to have a beer after the game and socialise with their team and then drive home.
Yeah, and it is, because you get nailed these days. If you're the guy who says, "Oh no, I don't want to have a beer," and I've just on a trip to England with the team, and because I didn't say anything, I just grab one of these out of the thing, sit there and drink. No one says a word to you. So It is hard for young people, I reckon, to say, "No, I don't want to have a beer." This is not a bad option of doing it, and we are going to try and push into clubs, sports clubs in particular, because it's the same. We don't want parents there at under 12 games drinking beer, getting drunk, abusing players, abusing officials, abusing coaches. So again, it's about finding the balance and giving people a different option, I guess.
Very interesting. Finally, Tim, you are coaching the Strikers this year. I know it's been called out to you before, but it was reported that you were vying with Darren Lehman with Boof, our colleague at the ABC now, by the way.
Yes.
I don't think he knows that, but we are.
That's Northamptonshire now, though,
I saw that.
Yeah.
So
ABC, I don't know.
Is she there? Okay, well, yeah, something for the
Probably a bit more money there for you two.
We'll get in touch.
More.
What was it like to be vying with your old coach for a role, and what can Strikers fans look forward to this year?
It was strange when I found that out, to be honest. But then you sort of look back now and think if you're going to apply for any job, whether it was the Renegades, I believe that was Adam Griffith, Cameron White, and Buff as well. So Australia, you've got 8 Big Bash teams, 6 states. So it's hard if you're going to be applying for those jobs. You're going to be going against someone you know and probably someone you're mates with. I think that's par for the course. Looking around, but I was with Pete Lawler last week, and I said the same thing. I don't see it as going, oh, well, it means I'm a better coach, or I think I'm a better coach than Buff. I just think there's certain times and certain people fit better with certain groups, and obviously the strikers in Adelaide thought that right now that I'm a good fit for that group, and in 4 years' time might be completely different. So it's right place, right time, no doubt about that. But we'll expect more from the same. I think we stumbled on a really exciting brand of cricket last year, playing lots of spin. We've clearly got a really dynamic top order with the shorts. Chris Lynn, who's scored the most runs, hit the most sixes in the BBL history. I will just be encouraging them to take the game on, play to their strengths, and we're going to try and put some big scores on the board, and then we're going to try and bowl teams out within the 20 overs, and that works, then we'll go all right. If not, we'll go down in flames.
And looking forward to get Trav and Alex in the side as well when they come back after the test. Definitely play. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to get them in, but whether or not they do, that's up to them. Look, again, we don't want to be chasing Alex Carey and Travis Head and putting them under pressure to play for us. I know more than anyone how busy their schedule is, and Travis in particular now is an all-3 format star across the world. He's in demand, but what we want to do is create an environment and a team that they want to be a part of. So if they do have the time, they actually ring us and say, we want to come and play in Sydney tomorrow night. So, we don't want to chase them or put them under pressure. We want them to want to come back, and it's up to us to build the right environment for them to do that.
So you're essentially playing hard to get with Hetty and Kez.
Why not? Why not? It's like the best-looking girl at school, isn't it? You don't want to chase her around all the time. You want to know, we're interested, but then I'm going this way. Free to mean, keep them keen.
Yeah, exactly. No, I can tell. Paine, thanks so much. I think it's been a great chat. We've offended a few different nations, and and finally, of course, look good, play good, feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Stoyan's actually running with that one now, isn't he?
Okay.
Well, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Just looking for a reply from him at any point. So, thanks so much, Paine.
Down in Melbourne in a couple of weeks, so maybe we can do it again.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right, see you, Paine.
Cheers, gents.
Thank you very much to our close personal friend Tim Paine, who has been on the show before. But it's been a minute since Tim's been on the show, so nice to have him in. Where is he? Hobart, I'm guessing. Guess we'll find out.
He's on SEN Tassie, so I suspect he's there.
Hashtag AskTGC. Now, please get in your AskTGCs short, sharp, into the emails, hello@greatcricketer.com, or you can go to the website there and figure it out how to communicate. Or you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/greatcricketer, where these questions came in today. But Ask TGC is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. Use the code FAST for 25% off, plus for a free TGC cloth gift. Now, during the Pat Cummins interview, we got him to wear the Verts, which is what he's been wearing, also some Wildcats. This year, he's also going to add the Motive range. So you go to the field collection at smithopticsaustralia.com/collections/field sports. There's also the Bobcat. That's a smaller style there for your small heads. Look, we said this last week, but we can tell you what it's not, and we can tell you what it is. And what it's not is other brands. Yeah. This is Smith Optics.
Not dog shit other brands.
It's not dog shit other brands. You got the Frame Tech, adjustable nose pads, super light and comfortable with solid grip, interchangeable lenses on most models so you can adapt. You got the Chroma Pop technology. That's the proprietary lens technology that enhances contrast. It has utility across multiple purposes and is different from other tech out there. And, well, the people at Smith Optics think it's a shed load better. And it's really great for cricket as it makes colours pop, especially white on green and red on green. It has utility across multiple purposes. And Pat Cummins says it's the best. Therefore, it's the best. SmithOpticsAustralia.com. Use the code FAST, F-A-S-T, for 25% off, plus a free TGC cloth gift inside your glasses. To that end, Matt Wade's ski goggle said, what did Pat Cummins smell like?
I didn't smell him. I didn't smell him, but
I clapped my eyes on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that sensation.
It
kind
is
of
a
takes
treat.
over.
It is a treat.
It was. I'm happy to say this off air. So, my wife was working, so I had to bring my boys in, my 6-year-old and 4-year-old boys, and they sat in another room and watched Super Mario.
Yes.
And ate pizza while we had this conversation.
That's a
but
treat.
Pat was just gorgeous with him as a father, as a young father.
Yeah.
But he took some photos with them and signed my son's Woolworths Cricket Blast. Didn't need to say Woolworths there, but Cricket Blast shirt. He was just great with them, which was really nice.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that is nice.
So I'll have to ask them actually if they smelt him, and I'll come back to the show and report in.
Straight from an Uber, straight from training, looking like that.
I was thinking that.
It's not fair, is
I wish
it?
I'd asked him that as well. I was like, what's Pat Cummins in an Uber? Like, what's happening in that Uber?
I did ask him. I did ask him that, and he said, "I think this bloke was okay." So that bloke is just kicking himself.
Yeah.
He had Pat Cummings.
Yes. You're that Pat Cummings bloke.
Bart Cummins. Cam Grain's Wingspan says Trump on Joe Rogan podcast in great terms.
One brings two terms.
Gideon's Swiss Army knife.
So that, background to that. Gideon Haig was promoting Manscaped and said that he used to trim his pubes with a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. He says Higo Hodge tin push video now. Something there. Super So says Father's Respect, where is? Morning after Joel Paris. Christian Petrarca 2K time trial, how fast? Punter forearm pulling through mid-on. Is it worse to attend the Shield in person or to have 3 streams running on your computer at work?
3. I think 3 streams.
He's got a multi-screen setup there, unless you can do picture in picture in picture. Oh, you can do that on KO, can't you?
Yeah, or like you could go different tabs maybe. I know a lot of the journos like to bring in like 2 extra devices, and they'll set up their iPads and their computer and type and watch cricket live.
It's a lot for the AFP to confiscate though at the end of the day, isn't it?
They have to bring a big truck in.
James Pickles says thoughts on the Lakers Tubbs etiquette with Bronny needing to avoid staring at his old man's flute on a daily basis. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, we have seen many comments, saying, "Is Bronny going to call Dad when he calls for the ball?" For the Lakers, Bronny James and LeBron, of course, in the same team.
Wouldn't he?
Dad,
Dad, I'm open. And then Tubbs stuff. Well, I mean, that's just begging for a cock off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Begging.
Wasp v Rock Spider said, I ran into Steve Smith once while he was on his sabbatical. It was 2 nights before his wedding, so he was having a couple. I was also sinking bulk piss. Not a flex, I have a problem. I have a hazy memory of telling him how hard batting on synthetic can be. Then in the group photo we got, I cut out my mates and posted just he and I on Insta. I think about it most weeks and cringe. So I guess my question is batting on synth though actually hard? So what he's done there, he's seen Steve Smith out, he's with his mates, a few beers being exchanged, and should we get a group photo? Then he's just cut his mates out of the photo so it looks like it's just him and Steve Smith. Why did you do that? Why did he do that?
It seems to me that there's a silent but growing sector of people who are quite serious about synthetic wickets being difficult to bat on.
Yes. Yep.
Even if it were true, that just couldn't be permitted on this show. Because I understand the idea that synthetic wickets can be made of slightly different materials from place to place, and that the impact of water on it and the way that the joins work and stuff might mean that it does offer stuff. But I just don't see how that the actual principle of a synthetic wicket is a consistency.
It's consistent,
as opposed to a turf wicket.
I understand that each
turf
one's
wickets exist because synthetic is just is introductory to the game.
So one will bounce more, one will spin more. I understand it, but it'll do that same thing forever because it's consistent.
It'll have a truth to it. Truth and consistency.
So you go out there and you face one ball, and that's what that deck does.
Yeah. Fuck out of here. Synthetic decks are hard.
That'll just about do for this week of The Great Cricketer. Thanks for joining us here on TGC. More to come on the channel later this week, or in your ears, but especially in your eyeballs. So join us here, and we'll see you guys real soon. Thank you very much to Tim Paine. Thank you very much to Smith Optics. Thank you very much to Ponting Wines. See you guys next week. Cheers.